Chapter 9. I turned the note over to see if there was anything else written. What does this note mean?
I believe someone is telling me counterfeit money is being laundered through the casino. It's the only thing I can think of.
Can that happen?
Right now, it seems like anything is possible.
You have some serious security issues. Grayson ground his teeth.
How the hell can this be happening? I monitor everything in the casino.
But you're not on property all the time. You constantly have meetings off-site.
True.
He ran his fingers through his hair. I handed him back his letter. I don't suppose there would be fingerprints on this.
Probably not.
Do you know who is behind this letter?
I'm sure I do.
That's good. If you think you know who gave you the letter, then you're one step closer to figuring it out. Are you going to go to the police? He shook his head.
Not right now. It would create a big scandal and media frenzy. No one would trust the money coming out of the casino, and we would take a tremendous hit. I don't know if the casino could survive. I want to get to the bottom of this first and then turn it over to the police.
You have cameras in the room with the safe. Can't you review the footage?
Yes, and I'll need to begin right away. Any more delay and this could blow up in my face.
He eyed me.
I'm sorry. I'm sure you don't want to be bothered with this. Would you rather go to someone else's place to wait out your remaining time?
I tried to think of a place I would rather be, but even at home with Gus didn't seem like a good idea. No, I'll help you. It will keep me awake. When we arrived at the casino, Grayson led the way to the security room. He accessed it with his keycard and flung the door open. All eyes briefly turned to him and then back to their assigned monitors. The security supervisor hurried over.
I want footage from all the cameras in the safe counting room and hallways leading to it.
Grayson growled in a harsh whisper.
Sir, is there something wrong?
Yes, there's something wrong. Bring me all the footage immediately. I want as much as you have.
Sir?
Immediately.
Grayson barked. He led me out, letting the door slam behind us. I trailed Grayson to the elevator and into his penthouse. His jaw was set hard and his eyes fierce. He closed the door with his hand fisted around the doorknob. So, this was the hard and fierce businessman, Grayson Miller. I had an urge, so I gave in to it. I turned around, flung my arms around Grayson, and gave him a hug. He was momentarily surprised, but then returned the hug. I was a little surprised by my actions, too. I'm not a person who goes around hugging people.
What's this for?
He asked, still locked in my embrace. You needed a hug. It's a good thing I don't go around hugging people because this was just embarrassing.
I think you may be right.
He said, resting his chin on my head.
If you keep hugging me, I'm going to forget I'm mad.
That was the point. He chuckled.
All right, I'm not mad anymore.
Really?
No, you should keep hugging me.
I unwrapped myself from him. Now you're just trying to collect free hugs.
Can't blame a guy for trying.
A message chirped on Grayson's phone. He scanned it with narrow eyes, his eyebrows raised and then pinched together.
Damn it.
What happened? I asked, glad it wasn't something I did.
I think I'll need an hour of hugs to recover from this,
he said between clenched teeth.
Half of the footage is missing. They're bringing me what's left.
We can review what you have.
I have a suspicion that all the incriminating footage was erased.
You never know. They may have missed something. All we need is the one piece they forgot. A few minutes later, a knock sounded on the door. Grayson swung the door open. A security guard handed him a package and bolted. Jason was only a few steps behind the guard and slipped into the room.
Steffi found the employee file on Jeff, but it's empty.
Jason said, fidgeting like he wanted to run. Grayson pinched the bridge of his nose and took a deep breath.
It's empty?
Yes. We don't even know what department Jeff worked in. There were 10 checks cut in his name for $100,000 each.
We paid him $1 million? For what?
Grayson's fists clenched at his side.
This is an inside job.
How do you know?
Jason asked.
Only someone on the inside would know that any checks over $100,000 need my approval and signature, and I sure as hell wouldn't have signed them.
What do you need me to do?
Grayson rubbed the back of his neck and sighed.
Nothing. It's Friday night, and it's late. Go home. I'll see you Monday.
Are you sure I don't mind staying?
No, I'll watch footage tonight and come up with a game plan for Monday.
All right, see you Monday.
Grayson closed the door behind Jason. His hand rested on the door handle. I tugged at his other hand. Let's watch the footage, I said.
Yeah, let's get this over with.
You bring the files and laptop, and I'll meet you at the couch with wine. It will be like watching a movie. A small smile escaped his lips.
I hate to say it, but I'm glad you were conked on the head. I like spending time with you, even if it's watching boring footage.
I smiled and warmed. I was rather happy about the conk on the head, too, just not the headache. Red or white wine?
Red.
Grayson picked up his laptop from the table and brought it to the couch where he settled in. I peered into the stocked wine cooler. Do you have a preference? I asked him.
I only stock the ones I prefer. Reach in and grab one.
Okay. I grabbed the first red my hand came in contact with. I found a corkscrew and 2 wine glasses. I took it all to the sofa and sat down beside Grayson. Here you go, I said, handing him a glass of wine.
Thank you,
He said.
I've started with the cash room footage. There's about 2 weeks here, minus the missing parts. I'll keep it on fast forward until we see something unusual.
This will be fascinating. I've never seen what people do in a cash room.
It's not that fun. Money comes in and money goes out. There's a lot of counting involved.
I watched the footage of workers speed in and out and around the room like the Roadrunner. The Roadrunner, however, would have been far more entertaining. Grayson was right. After watching a few minutes of footage, it wasn't fun. I sipped on my wine as people scurried around the screen. I watched the time counter on the bottom of the screen. The time was speeding by, but nothing looked different. Grayson knew the employees, so I couldn't help with identifying, nor could I help with knowing when armored truck deliveries were scheduled. I wasn't much help at all except to keep the wine flowing. I dutifully topped off the wine glasses and recuddled into the couch. Grayson brought out his arm and wrapped it around my shoulders, bringing me to his side. His eyes were focused on the screen, but his arms were all mine. I snuggled in. Grayson put me at ease. He was like a rock. Even with all of his problems at the casino, he never stopped or backed down. He was solid. I bet he could succeed at any job he was thrown into. An image popped into my mind. Grayson as a captain of a centuries-old sea ship. He would trade his tailored suits for breeches and boots. I grinned at the picture forming and taking on life. He was fierce and unbelievably sexy. His hair blew in the sea air while his muscles shimmered in the sun. His steel-gray eyes glinted with rum and lusty passion. I giggled a silly wine and estrogen-induced giggle.
What in the world are you thinking about?
Grayson asked. The picture popped out of my head, jolting me back into reality. I slowly turned my head to peek at him. A smile grew at the corner of his mouth.
Well?
He asked. I think there's something wrong with your wine, I said, hoping to make the conversation about his hallucinatory wine and not my smutty mind.
There's nothing wrong with my wine.
Then maybe I need some cake from the restaurant. I hopped from the couch and peeked into the 4 dessert boxes. The chocolate cake noticed me and winked. I scooped it onto a plate and brought it back to the couch. I bit into a giant forkful and enjoyed the chocolate enveloping my mouth.
I hope you're sharing.
Grayson said. I don't share cake. I took another forkful.
Give me a bite.
No way. I smirked as I cut a big chunk and shoved it in my mouth. He paused the video and moved the computer off his lap.
Give me a bite.
His eyes were dark with hunger. I wasn't sure if it was for the cake or me. I jumped from the couch with my cake. You can't have any. He swiftly moved from the couch, grabbing at my waist. I turned and ran from his grasp. I took the last bite and wolfed it down. He cornered me as I swallowed the last of it.
You ate it all.
I smiled. I told you I don't share,
Yes, you do.
he said as he took the plate out of my hand, placing it on the table next to us. He leaned down, capturing my mouth with his. It was unexpected and so intensely welcomed. His lips moved hard against mine. Grayson grasped the back of my shirt and drew me in. His tongue flicked my bottom lip, and I parted instantly. I held onto his arms as his tongue took over mine. I could taste the smooth wine in his kiss. Moving my hands down his chest, I felt the muscles beneath his shirt. I explored his arms, his back, and then traveled down to his firm butt. He stopped in surprise for a moment, but came back at me harder. His hands began their own assault on me. My breath hitched as his warm hand glided up the front of my shirt. He cupped my breast as his mouth traveled down to my neck. My back arched to his touch as his thumb grazed my nipple over the flimsy bra material. Raking my fingers through his hair, I brought his mouth back to mine, nipping his lower lip. He moaned and swooped me up from the floor. Wanting him closer, I wrapped my legs around him. I could feel the sway of him walking, but was too involved in kissing him to care where we were headed. He carried me to the bedroom where we fell on the bed. His hands brushed under my shirt, against my skin, and carried my shirt with them. He pulled it off the rest of the way and lowered his head to kiss the valley of my breasts. I felt my bra clasp pop open. As he tossed the bra aside, he gazed down at me. His eyes were soft, yet hungry with passion. His mouth captured my breast. I moaned as his tongue played and teased. My hands moved down to fumble with the buttons of his shirt. He ignored the buttons, yanked it off over his head, and lowered himself onto me. His mouth pressed against mine, but only briefly. His lips and skin were warm and intoxicating. I wriggled underneath him with need.
Nadia,
He said into my neck.
please say you want me.
I couldn't get the words out. I nodded yes. Oh, please, yes. There was a knock on the door. Grayson ignored it. His fingers unsnapped the button of my jeans and slid the zipper down. His hand found its way in as another knock on the door interrupted us.
Damn it!
He said, rolling off the bed. He gave me a quick kiss.
Stay here.
He shrugged his shirt on and jogged to the door. I couldn't hear what was being said, but from the stern tones, I think the person was getting an earful. My body ached with need for Grayson, but I fumbled to put my clothes back on. Grayson returned to the bedroom just as I slipped on my shirt. He cringed. I'm sorry, Grayson,
Nadia, it's okay.
He sighed, but his body betrayed him.
I'll just have to kill the next security guard I see for interrupting us.
I arched my brow. You wouldn't,
I would.
he said, stepping closer. He bent his head down to steal another kiss from me.
Everything that happened felt so right.
I nodded. It did feel right, but it happened way too fast. I may want him, but I wasn't ready for him.
Let's go back to work.
He grumbled.
I think you may be right. There could be something wrong with the wine. I've never wanted chocolate cake so bad in my life.
He playfully squeezed my hand. I laughed. Grayson, what did the person want?
It might be good news. The IT department was able to recover some of the footage. Hopefully, we can find something useful.
He played the video on his laptop. I settled in next to him on the couch. The footage was all the same. People scurried around here and there. Stacks of money were sorted and piled. One man cut open a stack and removed a bill to inspect it. Wait, I said. Grayson, it's him. Grayson rewound the footage.
For the love of God, how did he access the counting room?
The man in the video turned around and stared into the camera. He gave the camera some sort of hand signal I didn't recognize. It was the same guy from earlier. Who is this guy? The video ended. Can you go to the police with this footage? I asked.
No, this doesn't prove anything more than the theft of one bill. And most likely it was counterfeit.
This guy must know something.
I'm sure he does.
Why won't you tell me who he is? My phone rang. Doesn't anyone sleep around here? I asked no one in particular as I answered the phone.
Did he figure it out yet?
A man's voice rasped into my ear. Who is this? Grayson snatched the phone.
Are you in on this, or are you just trying to fuck with me?
He snarled. Grayson handed the phone back to me.
He hung up.
Well, that was helpful.
Can you try to call him back?
The number came up as unknown. I guess I could try.
No, don't bother. I'm sure he'll call you back. Let's continue with the footage.
I sat next to him as we watched hour after hour of the most tediously mind-numbing footage of people coming and going. The morning sun rose after what seemed like a week of watching video. My eyelids drooped and my body sank heavily into Grayson. He nudged me back awake, but within a couple of minutes my eyes blurred and closed. Grayson shifted, dragging me into a sitting position.
Nadia, you have to wake up,
he said. I fluttered my eyelids, trying to open them. I sank back into the couch and was on the brink of falling into a heavy sleep. I was barely aware of arms wrapping around and lifting me.
Nadia, I'm giving you one last chance to wake up.
A smooth voice floated to me from the happy gates of dreamland. I shrieked as water poured over me. My eyes popped wide open, and I grasped onto Grayson's shoulders. What the hell?
I told you to wake up.
Grayson still held me in his arms as the shower water beat down on top of us. Our clothes were drenched and clinging to our skin. You can put me down. Grayson set me on the floor next to him.
Are you awake now?
Yes. I guess I should be thanking you, but for some reason I don't want to. He hugged me into his wet shirt.
Why don't we grab some breakfast?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to be extremely happy when I can sleep.
So will I. I'm feeling a little tired myself.
I'm sorry you have to babysit me. Maybe Frankie is back and he can watch me.
No, I want to watch you. It's fun. I've never taken a shower fully clothed before. It's a new experience.
Do you think you can find me different clothes? This is all I have and I'm waterlogged.
Go ahead and finish showering. I'll make a few calls and have some clothes sent up.
Thanks. Grayson stepped out of the shower, snatching a towel as he left the bathroom. Attempting to peel off my clothes, I found they were anything but cooperative. I struggled with the wet material until I finally won. Letting the garments flop to the floor in a soggy puddle, I propped myself up against the shower wall for support. The water cascaded over me. It was so relaxing, so calming. An arm reached into the shower and plucked me out. A soft, fuzzy towel wrapped itself around me. Strong arms lifted me.
Nadia, you need to wake up.
I felt the sensation of movement and a gentle kiss on my neck. A soft bed compressed underneath me.
Wake up or I'll take drastic measures.
More kisses traveled from my neck to my shoulder. I stirred. A nip on the earlobe brought me back to the surface.
Are you awake?
No, I muttered. He kissed my eyelids.
You have to wake up.
Death would be nicer. Grayson unwrapped me from the towel. My eyes flickered open.
I know what would be nicer than death.
He said, pressing his weight down on top of me.
And all the work of stripping off your clothes is done.
His mouth lowered to mine. My pulse kicked up a notch, and all thoughts of sleep were banished from my head. I moved my hands up his back. He wasn't wearing a shirt, and his skin was smooth to touch. I brought my hands up to his shoulders, pressing against him. We molded into each other. His kiss became harder, more urgent. I matched his kiss with the same demand. I pushed against him, and he rolled to his back, taking me with him. I straddled him, placing my hands on his chest to balance me. I gazed down at him.
Nadia, kiss me.
I leaned down as he tucked his fingers into my hair, pressing me into him. Our bodies intertwined to the point where I didn't know where my limbs ended and his began. His possessive hands roamed my body. He rolled me onto my back and claimed my budding breast with his teeth. I moaned. His hand traveled from my waist, flat against my belly, farther down. I moved under his commanding hand. He propped himself up to focus on me.
Nadia, look at me.
I was lost in his eyes as his fingers found their way to my center. He gently stroked and teased. A tremor was set off in all directions. I closed my eyes and let my body pulsate under his touch.
Nadia, I want to see you. Open your eyes.
I opened them to peer into his gray eyes. My eyes naturally wanted to close again, but I kept them open, focusing on him. He stroked. With each stroke, I fell further into a frenzy of pleasure. I pulsed with delirious need underneath him. He held me down, pushing me nearer to the edge. I moaned and clung onto him. There was a knock on the door. I jerked at the sound.
Ignore it,
He whispered.
We are going to finish. Give in to it, Nadia. Let me feel you give in.
His caresses and words pushed me over the edge. I tumbled into a sweet release, making me quiver in his hands. He kissed me and brought me in for a hug.
Thank you.
Thank you? I asked, catching my breath. I think I should be thanking you. He smirked.
Well, sure, but you trusted me enough to let yourself go.
A second knock on the door made me jump. You should answer the door. He let go of me and sat up.
I think it's your clothes, so I should go get them, unless you think you don't need them.
I laughed. Go get them. He left the room to answer the door. I stood up and wrapped the towel around me. Voices drifted into the room.
Where's Nadia?
Maya asked.
She's in the bedroom.
Did you two did I interrupt something?
You always interrupt something, but I still love you because we are family, and we're stuck with each other.
Very funny.
Nadia just stepped out of the shower. I'm sure she'll want her clothes. Why don't you go in and make sure she's still up? I've been having a hell of a time keeping her awake.
There was a soft knock on the bedroom door. Come in, Maya, I said. She peeked in.
Are you decent?
As decent as a towel will allow me. She opened the door wider and pranced in with a shopping bag.
Here's an outfit. I bought it from the boutique.
Thank you. Do you always help Grayson with errands?
Most of the time I do. I like it because it gets me off the casino floor. I don't mind it. Walking around in circles serving drinks becomes a little routine. Not to mention, I get pinched a lot.
She said, rubbing her behind for emphasis. I didn't doubt pretty and perky Maya got pinched, and probably a whole lot more. I hope I'm not putting you out.
Not at all. You're one of the easiest guests Grayson has had in a while. Some of the women that stay here are extremely demanding and high maintenance.
I blinked. A raw, angry sensation burned behind my eyes. Some of the women that stay here? Is it a revolving door that somehow sucked me in? I clenched my teeth. Maya fixed her large, round eyes on me.
Nadia, are you okay?
Was that his motive for watching me? Just one more woman rotating through the door? Someone that will amuse him for a while? I'm fine, I said, regaining my composure. I just have a little headache from the bump on my head. I needed to let this go. I knew what Grayson was when I met him. He didn't have the time nor desire for a relationship, and I'm not prepared to have one with him either. So why did I want to punch him in the nose?
Do you need some aspirin or something?
I gave my best shot at a smile. No, thank you. I don't think aspirin will cure this headache.
Open the bag and see what I picked out for you.
I opened the bag and peeked in. I pulled out a white t-shirt that read, "It's Vegas, shake it," written across the chest in fluorescent pink glitter with a picture of dice. The tiny shorts were exactly the same, but the caption was on the rear. Maya.
I didn't have much of a choice. It's cute.
Cute? Would Grayson's past girlfriends wear this?
I think most of them would.
My eye twitched. I took a deep breath, but it didn't calm me. I was under his complete control. I would have gone as far as he would have asked me. Now to find myself amongst a harem made my skin crawl. He was no better than Caleb. I cringed. They both had me in the palms of their hands. Well, not anymore. Thank you for bringing me these clothes, Maya. Can you tell Grayson I'll be ready in a minute?
Sure, I'll see you later. I have to return to my station anyway,
she said, leaving the room. I slipped on the tiny outfit and walked out to the living room. Grayson was relaxing on the couch with his laptop. He was still shirtless, and the button on his relaxed jeans was undone. I winced with longing as I steeled myself against his careless magnetism. He peeked up from his laptop as I entered the room. A smile crept onto his face.
That's what Maya picked out for you?
Unfortunately, yes.
I like it.
I narrowed my eyes. I don't doubt that.
Let me change and then we can go to breakfast.
All right. Grayson stood and set his laptop on the end table. He gave me a quick kiss on the cheek before heading into the bedroom. I made sure he was out of sight before I slipped out the door and into the hallway. A tiptoe run led me to the elevator. My foot tapped impatiently as I waited. Once on the casino floor, I fled to the front door. I spotted Remy with the limo at the entrance. He'd give me away if he spotted me. A group of tourists was heading to a motor coach idling near the door. I joined the group and followed them to the bus. As soon as I neared the bus door, I veered off and jogged to the sidewalk. A hand grabbed my shoulder, stopping me.
What's going on?
Remy said as he turned me to face him. What do you mean?
I mean, I see you sneaking out the door with a pack of tourists just as I answer a call from Grayson to keep my eye out for you. What's going on?
Don't you dare tell him you saw me.
I'll decide that.
I narrowed my gaze. This is between Grayson and me. Don't get in the middle.
If this is between you and Grayson, then you should be discussing it with him instead of running away. And it's my job to get in the middle.
I'm not running away. He studied me with an arched brow. I need some space right now. Let me go.
Give me one good reason.
Because I tried to think of something that wouldn't give Remy too much information. I couldn't see how I could, and give a convincing reason on top of it. I glared at him, daring him to counter my excuse. I have to feed Gus.
Nadia, though your cat is scary, you know that's not the reason.
Remy's cell phone rang. He read the caller ID.
It's Grayson. Have you thought of a good reason yet?
I grabbed the phone from his hand and answered the call. Grayson, tell Remy to let me go, or I'll call the police and give them information you might not want me to share. I shoved the phone back at Remy.
Boss?
Remy ended the call and backed off. I turned and hailed a taxi. I shut the door to my apartment and sunk into the couch next to Gus. He grunted as I scratched him behind his ear. What the hell did I just do, Gus? He didn't answer. I think I made a huge mistake. Should I have left like that?
I wouldn't let it bother you.
A man said behind me.
Grayson can take care of himself.
I jumped from the couch and swung around. You?